And I say that Larry Murphy is going to wire one through from the point if Washington is to win.
Well, there's Rudy. He has been super tonight for his team. He has stopped 34 shots. A lot of them, the majority of them, have been very difficult saves.
I would say that the Islander team is a lot more confident about Rudy doing the job for them than the Washington team is about Mason. And I'm not saying Mason isn't a good goalie, but he hasn't been in this kind of a setup very often, if at all, at this level. And the goaltender, obviously, is the most important man on the ice for each team. And Mason has let a couple of soft goals in, although he's made some big saves. And Kelly Rudy has not let any soft ones in, and he's made a lot of big saves.
Gardner made it 1-0 at 19:12 of the opening period. Washington flatly scored at 11:35 of the second. And Martin got his first goal ever in the National Hockey League at 18:45, but then Trottier tied it up at 14:37. Sutter and Jensen got penalties at 19:06 of the third period.
I think you're going to see both coaches use their veterans and most experienced players for about 4 or 5 minutes before they end up going to the fourth line or third line people.
Here's Duchesne moving it up first, but Gould was offside. And the play is called. Kelly Miller also went across the line on that play.
Well, there's something about overtime and Stanley Cup overtime in the 7th game to see who goes on. You couldn't paint a better picture to end it if you're not dying with either one of these teams and you're just a hockey fan like lots of people across Canada are. You've seen a great game. One of these teams is going to go home very disappointed.
Bob Gould against LaFontaine. Puck comes to the Islanders. Janssen, he comes to center, shoots one. Stopped by Mason. That's the first shot. Every shot is a biggie now. Here's Gould coming in, crossing the line. Gould rolling right in front. Oh, what a chance for Mike Gardner. And the puck was rolling away from him. Duchesne couldn't keep it in. It comes out over the line. Gardner falls inside the blue line. He was hit, but what a chance he had to end it here in just 30 seconds of overtime.
He loses the puck as he goes in on the net. I don't know what Thomas Janssen was thinking, letting Gardner go, but see the puck? It bounced over his stick, or he was going across the net and then try to go upstairs over Rudy, who would have had to sprawl. And Gardner can get from one side of the net to the other faster than most people in this league can. A great opportunity in the first 31 seconds by the guy that's most capable of finishing the game for Washington.
He started the scoring. He could have ended it right there. Lost control of it a little bit. Nearly got his stick under it to hook it high. And you're right, that's where he was going when he saw Rudy go down. And nothing resolved yet. Overtime in Game 7. Could you write a better script? Trottier on there again. He tied it in the third for New York. Here's Conroy moving up. He shoots it in. There goes Rich Crom after it. McElhaw on the ice. It comes back to the line. Another pass. Conroy's shot kicked out. Good save by Mason. Murphy gets it past to center. To Christian going in. He took a shot. Knocked away by Rudy. Puck cleared back to center ice. This is Blackley coming in to Trottier, got it back. Nearly set up a 2-on-1. Right way. They stop. Murphy turns, throws it up to Christian. He couldn't handle the pass. Murphy again. Put it up. That didn't work. Stepping behind the net is Rudy. Ordinine turns. Play comes to Kerr on the right side, and the Islanders have to go back again. Franciscetti was upended. Puck came in front of the net. Deneen trying to clear it. He fell on it. Puck is loose there now. A pass in front. Rudy down. And they keep it out, but
Well, Franceschetti could not get a stick on the puck. He was going to the net with the Islander player draped all over him. And what Rudy had to worry about was he had the puck in front of him, but were those two big guys going to slide into him and knock the puck into the net? Now watch him going to the goal here. Thomas Johnson. And here comes Franceschetti, and you can see Trottier is going to be the guy that goes to him. Or sorry, it isn't Trottier, it's Kerr. And Kerr does a great job tying him up. And the puck's there, but Rudy hasn't got it for a second.
They played a minute 41 of overtime. Washington has had some pretty good chances to finish it, and you don't get many of those before being stung.
Well, Washington all game, let's be honest, have missed good opportunities, and you can't miss them all night and expect to win the game. And Gartner in alone in overtime almost finished it.
Important face-off again to the left of Rudy. Stevens and Murphy are the two defensemen for Washington. They move up a little bit, about 10 feet inside the blue line. Gardner in to try to win it. And he does win it. Murphy's shot. That was blocked at the defense. It's hooked to the line. Duchesne knocked it down. That's blocked. Here's Murphy again. Can't shoot it. Murphy once more with a shot. Hit the side of the net. Into the corner. They fight for it. Gardner is in front of the goal. Duchesne falling. Again, goal. Weak shot. Stopped by Rudy. Good pressure by Washington. Not a great scoring chance, though, on that flurry. They rolled a couple in there for Rudy. Nearing the 3-minute mark of overtime. Stevens starts to the line, gets it through the middle, and Gould is dancing in there. Here's Miller's shot. Right on the net, the rebound! And Rudy down! And he hangs on to it. But let me tell you something, Gould very nearly ended it right there again.
Well, as Mike Keenan said, you got to get the guy without the puck going to the net and then get the puck at the net and hope that what almost happened here with Gould happens for you. And you can see that Gould goes unopposed to the goal, and Rudy can't find a handle, and Gould couldn't get much on it. See him go through the middle to the net? And that's a nice habit to get into, and Gould was too far, but you can see he nearly got it. Then he tried to bank it off Rudy back into the net. And it's away from Trottier.
Here's a shot by Murphy, and that's stopped by Rudy. He was out cutting the angle on that one. And you know Larry Murphy can really fire that puck. He was about 15 feet inside the blue line when he walked into that one. And Rudy had to come out to cut the angle.
Well, losing those draws this directly right back to a guy with a howitzer is a dangerous habit. And Rudy was well out. You can see that Murphy wasn't going to be able to see much. But Rudy wasn't going to be able to move much either. So that's the sign of a good goal. He gets himself in the right spot, lets the puck hit him.
They've played nearly 3 minutes of overtime, and about 2.5 minutes has been played up here inside the New York line. Again, it floats in wide of the net. It's centered, comes back in front. Deneen trying to get to it. Here's a chance. And Rudy watched that one come off his stick and go into the crowd. But if the Capitals keep coming like this, you know they're going to get one.
The Islanders are struggling in the defensive zone. First of all, they're losing a lot of draws. And second, they're having trouble in their defensive zone coverage, containing this line especially. And we've seen twice now where players have had pretty good chances after they've won the draw.
Shots 42 to 23. It's been Washington for most of the evening. Washington along with Kelly Rudy of the New York Islanders. Trottier got the tying goal for New York at 14:37 of the third. Babanka on this faceoff. For Washington, he'll try to hook it back to Murphy. Can't do it. Comes in front though. And Franceschetti was there. He didn't see it. He was tied up anyway and didn't see the puck. It was lying there in front of Rudy. Franceschetti falling. Islanders trying to clear it. Swinging in front of the net and coming out. That's Crom shooting it in. Might be icing. Capitals touch it, they do. And icing is called against New York. Back it comes.
Well, Richard Crom could have taken another step, I think, although he thought that Flatley had a step on his back checker. And Trottier does a good job there of time, but watch what happens. The puck goes back to Franceschetti. Now watch where it comes down. And Rudy's away over the other side of the net. And Conroy comes in and gets the puck behind the net. And the Islanders are on their heels, to say the least, right now.
Game 6 of this series. Rudy had to stop 40 shots. And here tonight, he stopped another 40.
And about 15 of them have been great opportunities to score.
Face off to the left of the goaltender again. Washington dominating here in overtime, but unable to score. The Islanders waiting for that one chance. Got to have a lot of nerve for that in overtime. That's their plan, it appears. They're right in front and jamming on this one. Trying to knock it in from the short side. That was Flatley. Again, the Islanders now look for a scoring chance here in overtime. Bassen couldn't knock it away from Murphy, and it goes down the ice. Now they've played 4 minutes. Islanders make changes. Puck comes to center ice, and Langway was there, shoots it in. Ball, a pass away for Kerr. Kerr coming in around Langway. Kerr was grabbed by Langway, who now chases the puck. Capitals get it up to Ridley to the line. And Sutter turns and goes back in against Hatcher. He centered it. Kerr was covered. Dineen shoots it in. Got by Mason and hit the back of the net. Now the Capitals just relieve the pressure by shooting it out. That pass in behind Kerr. Langway hustling back. Takes his man and lets Hatcher do the work on the puck. He gives it to Adams. Adams, Franceschetti, and Pivonka. Coming in, Adams stops. Now keeps going. Went in back of the net, trying to dump it in front. Kerr brings it back. Rink wide pass. And that got by LaFontaine. Goaltender has to play it, so no icing. Makela couldn't keep it in for New York. Knocked out of the zone. Back in again, Islanders. Jensen's high shot, miss. Here's Duchesne. Here's Pivonka with him. Duchesne in there. Got in front of the net. And it's cleared and centered. Makela can't move it out, though. Janssen over after it. Tried to dump it out and cut. Pivonka's backhander gloved by Rudy. Nearly 6 minutes into overtime. Stevens shoots it in. Allowing the Islanders lots of time to organize to bring it out. The pass through the middle, across center. That's Crom. He's stopped. Conroy flipped one ahead to Crom. Crom got away from Murphy. Back near the line. Crom's pass doesn't get through. And Murphy is away. Murphy up the center for Washington. Dumped the high one into the corner. And Rich Crom is all the way back there to pick it up. Rink wide pass comes off the boards to Langway. Capitals make changes. He feeds it ahead. Here's Gould coming in. High shot on the glass. Crom bumped by Gartner. Gartner stopped by Crom, and he gets it out. He wants it down the ice as he wants to get off. Now he's heading to the bench. He's been on there a long time in that shift. Rich Crom.
In this overtime, with the ends that the teams have, it's a very difficult change for both teams.
Here's a quick shot. A giveaway inside the blue line. That Mason stops. Not a hard shot, but it was along the ice. He saw it. Puck off the boards to center. Langway has to hustle back. Hatcher with him. Sutter in there bumping with Hatcher. He got a pass away though. Out for Ridley. Ridley is stopped. Now Langway down on one knee to block that. Shoots it in for Washington. And Trottier picks it up in his own zone. Here comes Franceschetti for checking. Laurel plays it ahead near center ice. Kerr is up on the play for New York. Greg Smith for Washington. Nearly hit Sutter with that. block that. Shoots it in for Washington. And Trottier picks it up in his own zone. Here comes Franciscetti forechecking. Morrow plays it ahead near center ice. Kerr is up on the play for New York. Greg Smith for Washington. Nearly hit Sutter with that pass. Sweeping in is Franciscetti. Jensen shot. And that's grabbed by Rudy. And the goaltender juggles it. Then he hangs on to it.
Well, that was a fairly long shot, although it had something on it. Rudy had to find it after it hit him. But he did before any damage was done. There's Andy getting a laugh out of something Rudy said. If you've got a sense of humor in the overtime, you are a cool goaltender.
He's been very cool. He has been very poised. He has been very sharp for the New York Islanders.
And here's a great chance by Flatley. He actually could have come around further than he did, but you know what happens when you're coming out from behind the net. You figure some guy's going to rip your head off. Langway throws the pass, and it bounces off the Islanders' stick. And you have to be awful careful about passes up the middle in overtime. One mistake, and it's done.
They played 7.5 minutes of overtime. Here in the Capitol Center, the winner will meet Philadelphia. Not much rest for the weary. That will start Monday. Bob Gould trying to win the draw. Comes back to Stevens. Stevens shoots. Oh, and it deflected and just misses. Rudy reached up for it. It wasn't there. It hit somebody and bounced to the other side, but just missed the net. Now the Islanders start up. Kerr shoots one in. Here comes Gilbert. He has LaFontaine with him. Capitals are back to pick it up and start again. Stevens hitting the line to center. Bob Gould going in. Gould was stopped from carrying on that play, and the Islanders get it out. Makela knocked it in. Makela going after it now. Makela! And he lifted one high. Islanders up after it. Along the boards. It'll be cleared out by Murphy. Makela with a very good rush, and he nearly ended it right there. Stevens across center with the pass. Offside. It'll come back inside the Washington line. Now they've played 8 minutes and 24 seconds, and there have been some pretty good chances to win it.
And the coaches will be trying very hard to make short shifts. But without a whistle, here's Makela getting in here, and a nice play by Franciscetti ties him up. Makela doesn't really, Murphy comes in and helps him there at the left of your screen. He doesn't really get much of a chance, but the coaches are trying for short shifts. Boy, if you get out there too long after playing this kind of a game, your legs can seize right up. But as I said before, the benches are furthest away from their own goal, so changes are tough.
Trottier on there again for New York. Won the draw, but Hatcher gives it to Langway. Langway feeds it to the line. Ridley shoots it from his own side of center. It goes around the net. Islanders hustle back, and icing is called. He did make contact. That was Rich Crom coming back.
Well, he didn't touch it with his stick because he was being tied up by Gartner, but he did hit Crom's skate first, and that's good enough. And Gartner, if anybody can take an icing away from him if you're not careful with his legs, he can do it. And every offensive zone face-off for the team shooting at the goal, I mean, so many games have been decided because you won the draw in the other team's end.
Well, here's an opportunity for the New York Islanders. Rich Crom hustling back, and you're right, Harry, he missed it with a stick, but it hit a skate. And Ron Finn, the linesman, was very close to the play. He was flying back there, too.
He was trying to get out of both their ways, get his hand up so D'Amico, who was the back linesman, could blow the whistle on the offside.
And Trottier comes in to try to win it. He's there against Miller of Washington. Trottier got the draw, back to the line. Janssen stepping in, shoots, and he misses the goal with the high shot. Duchesne now coming out. He's with Gould, and Gould is racing in as Morrow goes back to watch him. Morrow takes him in on the boards. Janssen takes over. Janssen played it ahead, didn't get it out. Gardner going in front of the net, but Morrow is in there. Grabbed it, Gardner after him. It's tipped near the line, and here come the Islanders. Flatley to center. A left wing pass going in. It's centered again. And Langway intercepts the pass in front of the net. Christian to Ridley. He couldn't handle it. Nearing the 10-minute mark of overtime. Offside. That pass across center.
That was awfully close. Had it not been detected by linesman Finn, the Islanders had a little rush going with a little speed and one extra man. It would have been a 3-on-2.
Well, if the pattern continues, Harry Neal, the scoring in this game, nothing happened till late. 19:12 of the first period when Gartner scored. 11:35, Flatley scored, and then 18:45 of the second, Martin. And then 14:37 of the third, Trottier. So we're right on schedule here. Coming up to the 10-minute mark of overtime. Stevens back. Round the net, up to Adams, at the blue line. Adams to center. Gets it up across the line. Adams going after it. Francis-Sketty and Adams collide in behind the net. And the Islanders are back there to clear it. That's Conroy bringing it down the left wing boards and shoots it in. Mason out of the net to stop it. Sutter trying to knock it loose. Adams again starts the play for Washington. To center with Pavanka. Francis-Sketty moving up. He's in there bumping with Bob Basson. Basson roll the puck behind his own net. Play comes from Dineen to the line, and that is Kerr with the puck. Long shot by Kerr. Stopped by Mason. Murphy chopped at it. It goes out. Hit the man going on. Fans want a penalty.
2 years ago, it would have been a penalty because they gave it to you whether it was an accident or not. Now you have to play the puck.
Now you have to really move on it, yes. A chance for the Islanders in. Gilbert is knocked down before he could shoot it. And the play is called. You're right, years ago, if you were leaving the ice on a player change and your replacement was on and the puck hit you as you were going off, you had too many men on the ice.
And it was a play that if your player saw that as he was coming up the ice with the change going on in front of him, he'd fire it into the crowd,
sure,
hoping for just that to happen.
Hence the rule change.
Ken Morrow's been a tower of strength defensively for the Islanders, and as Mike Bossy said, talking to Ron McLean, for some reason he gets a share of overtime goals.
You remember that overtime against the Rangers? Dick Irvin is sitting at home now, and he's saying, I wonder will Bob reflect on that game 4 or 5 years ago? 4 years ago when Morrow scored against the Rangers in probably the most exciting overtime. That was a deciding game, but then it was a best of 5 in that first round.
It was a great hockey game, as I recall, with both teams missing great chances before Morrow finally scored.
Well, he's on there now. Capitals have had some pretty good chances in this overtime up to this point. Islanders have had 1 or 2, but for the better part, it's been Washington. Well, nothing counts unless you put one in.
The ice is getting heavy, the players' legs are getting heavy, and the pressure is getting heavy.
That's Randy Wood, number 11, against Kelly Miller for Washington. From the face-off, Langway there again, giving it to Duchesne. Duchesne's rink-wide pass. Moving up is Miller trying to get to it. Offside again at the New York Islanders blue line.
Well, Randy Wood did a nice job back checking. He had his stick on the winger who tried to get onside, but he ran him all over the blue line, so when Miller came over the line, the puck was offside.
I get the feeling that these two teams are thinking about defense here in this overtime.
Well, they gave it a bit of a shot, especially Washington, to try and get the quick goal. But now that the quick goal hasn't come, both of them are starting to spar and wait for a break.
Morrow to the line, ahead to center. LaFontaine moved it in. A nice pass into Gilbert. LaFontaine moving up after it. Taken in on the boards by Hatcher. LaFontaine got it again. Hatcher got him again. Now Gilbert. He's stopped by Jensen. Capitals get a chance to clear it. Bob Gould is going to move it out. Morrow has to hurry back as Duchesne was moving up. Morrow, through the middle it goes. But it rolls to Hatcher. He's stopped by Makela. And then he lost it against Langway. Didn't know he had a chance to move in. Langway comes to Duchesne. Duchesne to center with Gould. Stopped by Dineen at his own blue line. He had to knock it down and then feed a pass ahead to center. Here's Rich Crom going in. Crom back. Trottier shot. Hit the outside of the post. Crom again. Rink wide, but right to Christian. Lead pass. Crom tying up Gardner. Can't get him in there. And icing called against Washington. Trottier came close.
Well, you know, he didn't shoot that puck very hard, and for some reason it handcuffed Mason and hit the post. Maybe Mason was expecting a much harder shot. But Trottier just kind of lobbed it at him, and it went off the post and had Mason beaten. And there's Brian Murray saying, what does a guy have to do to get an interference call? Watch Trottier shoot it here. It's a flutter ball, and it hits the post. It had Mason beaten on the short side.
Trottier being jeered a bit by some of the fans down there as he goes in to take this face off. He skated over by the glass and had a few words to say to some of the fans. Trottier wins the draw. Crom moves to the corner. Trottier's in front of the net. Crom is covered, can't play it. Now it's poked to the line, not out. Shot by Conroy. That's stopped by Mason. Center. Trottier nearly had a chance to end it right there. Back up for Christian. He fired it in to Ridley, and Ridley is after it, but Trottier is back there too. Trottier to the line with it. Sutter is stopped. Sutter trying to knock it off the boards. He does get it loose. Gardner moving in there to help. There's Gardner coming back to poke it near the line. 4 players in along the boards. And the Islanders, Dineen nearly gave it away in front, and Trottier has it. Coming out. Trottier to the right side, and Flatley just dumped it in, and the Islanders want to make changes. Hatcher for Washington starts the play. Adams up there. Francischetti now moving in to pick it up. He has it. Trying to drop it back to Adams. Adams in the corner, back to the line. Hatcher's shot deflected. And out of the net comes Rudy to knock it away before anybody could get a stick on it. Sutter to center. That's a neat play. Bjornsson coming in. He centered it back. Oh, what a save by Mason. They were holding their breath here in the Capitol Center with Bassett set up perfectly. And Mason beat him.
Well, it was a little bit like the Gartner play. They let Basson go to the net by himself. He tries to come across the net. Mason comes with him, and Basson just hit him with it. And then Mason caught it as it came off his chest protector. Here's a nice play, though. Thomas Johnsson makes a lovely play to Basson. And I think if Basson had to do it over again, he might have gone a little further, but Mason played it very well.
You betcha he played it very well. He stayed right with him.
Now what happened here was that number 22 for Washington must have let Basson go. And coming back into his own, he was hoping more than anybody that Mason would stop it.
Hatcher takes it back of the net for Washington. Nearing 14 minutes of sudden death overtime now. Hatcher decides, I'm going to lug it up. He got the center and then fired it in. That's Dinnick back there for New York. Islanders hang on by getting it outside the line. Capitals shoot it back in. Islanders get it back out. LaFontaine has to reach back to poke at it. Now it comes in. Later shot. That's stopped by Mason. Juggled it, held onto it, now puts it back to Stevens. Stevens out for Duchesne. Duchesne shoots it in, and the Capitals will make changes. Trottier cruising back of his own net. Pass dumped to the middle. Stevens now waits, circles. Wing pass, the Capitals start away. At center, Dineen knocks one down, rolled it in, that's offside. On that far wing, offside called with Flatley going in.
Well, the hitting has really subsided, and these guys are just too tired. to start that again. For about the first 2 periods and a bit of the third, there were more good body checks than I've seen in a lot of hockey games. But we haven't seen many in overtime. You know, it takes a lot of energy to hit guys, just like it takes a lot of energy to get up after you've been hit.
15 minutes, just about. 5:43 left in the first overtime period. And they're just laying back now. You can feel it. You know it. Somebody wants to get a break. Islanders shoot it up to the line. There's Pivonka starting this play. Is Jensen on his left. They just keep dumping it in. Here comes Jensen. Basson upended him. Basson fell into the boards. Jensen got the puck. He centered. It could be it. It's knocked off the leg on that hard shot by Smith. Out for New York. He dumps it ahead. Kerr from Basson. Basson circled though. Went to the bench on a change. Left Kerr there alone. Pivonka skates through the middle away from Morrow. Pivonka faked the shot. Pivonka to the boards. Now he shoots it. That's knocked down in front of the net by Janssen. He can't get it out, but 3 Islanders move up. LaFontaine stopped by Langway. Gardner just missed the pass from Langway. Kerr into LaFontaine. And the play is called offside. The delayed whistle.
Well, Langway made a heck of a play there, because had that puck got by him, it was a 3-on-1, and he just got the toe of his blade of his stick on it and deflected it the wrong way, and the 2 Islanders that might have got by him skated past the puck. And Langway, as usual, has been almost flawless defensively.
LaFontaine looking dangerous on this last shift. He remains on. Gets a couple of new wingers, Gilbert and Makela.
Steve Conroy just left the ice to go to the dressing room. My guess is he needed his skate sharp, because he certainly wasn't limping anything.
Long shot in by Murphy. Duchesne went up after it. Puck dumped on the glass, and they get it out. Morrow's long pass through center, hitting Gilbert. Here comes Makela in on Langway. Makela got a pass back in front. And turning is LaFontaine. Threw it ahead. Here's Gilbert trying to get in front. Gilbert now stopped, centered it, and it comes back to the line. Out for Miller. Miller going in. Duchesne catching up. Miller for Duchesne. And he was tied up by Morrow, who stayed with him all the way. Janssen racing in for New York. A long shot. Kicked away by Mason. Crom centered it. Crom again moving up. Crom trying to knock it in front of the net. But the Capitals shoot it down the ice. Rudy will have to play it, with Gardner racing in there. 3:50 left in the first overtime period. Up to center. This is a shot by Diduck up the line. Blocked easily. Hatcher dumped it away, but not out. Leiter kept it in. New York looking to win it now. Pass comes in front, intended for Trottier. Never got to him. Trottier being covered very carefully by Wrigley. Islanders shoot it in. 3:20 left in the first overtime period. And here come the Capitals. Hatcher up the center. Shoots one from center ice. Off the boards. And it comes to Alan Kerr, and he's away for New York. Kerr going in. Has to wait for Sutter to clear the zone. He does. Here's Sutter. Right in. Oh, what a save by Mason. Sutter had him beat. He had him beaten. And he reached up and pulled it out of the air. And it was going in to end it all.
A nice passing play, and Sutter was in alone going across the net. And Mason, watch his right hand. Here's a lovely pass right here. Watch Mason with his glove hand here. Puts it right on the ice, or just off the ice, and picks that puck and stops it from going in. A lovely pass. Now watch Mason on the right glove. And that puck, you're right, Bob, was headed for pay dirt.
Well, Rudy, Sean, and the first half of the hockey game, if you can call the first 3 periods the first half, because once you get to overtime, it got to count for more. It's just 20 minutes at a time.
You're right. A good save in overtime is a great save.
Well, Well, Mason made one there. 2:58 left in the first overtime period. LaFontaine wins the draw. Leiter has to hurry to keep it in and does. LaFontaine back there against Smith. Langway on the ice again. Coming out for Washington. Langway's pass through the middle. Gould shoots it in. Duchesne trying to go in there out of the net is Rudy to clear it to Makela. He missed it. Here's his shot going for the net. And it just missed the far corner. You knew that was going to deflect off something, which it did, and it nearly went in. LaFontaine is nailed before he can move over there. Pass comes inside the line, and Diddick takes over for New York. Diddick to center. Trottier bumped by Langway, but here's Makela. Makela in front. Tried to set it up for Randy Wood. And back for the Capitals. This is Ridley coming in. Ridley gets set. He won't shoot it from that angle. Rolled it up behind the net, went after it. Gardner comes in to help him. Puck into the corner. Gardner trying to root it out now. Trottier watching him. Here comes Christian on this side. And the Islanders get it out of the zone. Randy Wood to center, dumping it in, and he'll go to the bench immediately with 1:40 left in the first overtime period. Hatcher has been making rushes like this all evening. Here he goes again. Low shot stopped by Rudy. And another shot tipped away by Rudy. That was a dangerous shot. Islanders bassin upended by Hatcher. Jensen throws it back in. Rudy looks around. He sees the white shirts coming and then hustles a pass away. 1:15 left in the first overtime period. And the Capitals now start coming at the Islanders again. 1:10 left in the first overtime. Pass to Francis Getty didn't work. Greg Smith takes it. He skates to center. Smith in. Shoots. Hit the goal post. Shot hit the post with a minute left. Nobody's going to win this one. Pass goes in back of the net. Smith went after it. Islanders keep it in. That is Kerr in the corner trying to dig it out. 40 seconds left in the first overtime. And the Islanders start pressing a bit now. Jensen can't catch up to it. Quick changing. He's going to the Washington bench. 30 seconds left in the first overtime period. Pass goes to the corner. Gould trying to move up. There's Larry Murphy. And it was tipped in front. And Rudy makes another dazzling save.
Yeah, he's pretty sharp. That's about the third tip-in he's stopped. And the puck got by the Islander left winger and went right to Murphy, and he let it go. Here's the shot from the point away up there at the top of your screen. And there's the tip-in, and it wasn't a hard enough shot to deflect enough to beat Harudi.
Look at this drive off the goal post.
Ooh, that's that knuckleball that hit 3 or 4 guys on the way in, and that's the second one that Rudy's had to handle in the overtime period.
That's the one earlier that was tipped and just missed the post.
Smith hit the post from 50 feet out.
Yeah, down at the other end.
And had Kelly Rudy beat. Rudy will tell you the posts, they play for me, not them.
Face off to the left of Rudy. 19 seconds left in the first overtime period. 7th game of the series. They win the draw. Murphy shoots. Rudy there again. He's making this game look easy. Just stands there, cuts the angles, and makes the catch. And if you try to beat him to right or left, he'll just simply kick something out and stop it.
Trottier loses the draw again. Murphy shoots, but you can see that Rudy can see that shot the whole way. And I think Murphy could shoot till his arms fell off. That one wasn't going to win.
Just 15 seconds left in the first overtime session. Gardner racing into the corner, looking around. The Capitals want one more shot at ending this thing. It's to the line and tipped there by Stevens. Stevens can't keep it in. A 2-on-1 New York set up. Passing going away, but runs out of time as the horn goes to end the first overtime period.
Well, this game is slowly evening up. In the third period, the Islanders, I thought, were as good as Washington. Certainly you couldn't choose between the teams in that period. And if Washington happens to lose this game, they didn't lose it in overtime. They lost it in the first period when they should have had the Islanders in a deep hole.
The shots in that first overtime period were 11-10 for Washington. Now, the total over 4 periods, 47-32 for Washington. But we're still tied, and we'll be back with overtime again. This is the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC.
Apiece after what seems like about 6 games. It's actually 4 periods, but what a tremendous game in Landover, Maryland. What do you say now if you're the coach versus what did you say after the first 60 minutes?
Well, I think the Islanders have got everything in their favor now. He goes in, we shouldn't even been around here, boys. Come on, we can steal this thing. That's his rallying cry. And Brian Murray's going to have a tough time because, you know, they should have blown them out. He's got to get them rallied. They got to be very discouraged over in Washington right now.
And yet it could be argued that they composed themselves when indeed they dominated. They had the goal late, Trottier scoring to force overtime, and Mason appeared almost to be shaky in the waning moments of regulation time and came up with 2 terrific saves.
Right. I think Harry Neal's right, though. I think it shifted around that. Before that, Washington, they had the flood one end of the rink. It's coming back now, and I think the Islanders look stronger right now. As a coach, what you say, look, I only want one guy back for sure, and everything, shoot at the net, never pass back, but keep everything on the net because anything can happen. Again, as Harry Neal says, Rudy could see the puck right from the point. They've got to jam him. When you see that puck coming from the point, jam in front. That's how they're going to get a goal.
This is now what's known as sudden golf overtime because the loser has to look forward to something other than hockey. The longest overtime, incidentally, for the New York Islanders is 21 minutes and 35 seconds. They went into double overtime, and in a minute 35, here in Landover in 1985, Mike Gartner scored. Would they think about that?
No, so half of these guys aren't here. They don't even think about that. They're just thinking, I think when they go out here now, they want to score in the first 5 minutes, both teams. Get it over with. It's a funny thing. If they don't score in the first 5 minutes, you can see things kind of settle down a little for the rest of the period because, I don't know, they're trained for that 5 minutes now.
How about the officiating? Mike Bossy said, I wonder what Andy's doing out there in that overtime period because it's probably just exercise for him.
Well, you know, Mike Bossy, he says, then he said they never call anything. Oh, I said, is that right? I remember in Philadelphia, Mr. Snyder was a little upset, if you remember. Andy Von Hellman called, I think it was in Brad Marsh, one of those guys pull a hooking and they got a goal. Well, what happens here is, yeah, you can see a lot of infractions going and penalties going, but they don't want to decide the game. Unless you really embarrass them and do something stupid, they won't call it. If it's a breakaway and a guy's there and you hook his feet out, they'll call it.
Well, Don, thank you as always for your thoughts. We don't want to use them all up now because we'll probably need them in about 40 minutes from right now. It's tied at 2 after 4 periods of play. The Caps of the New York Islanders live on CBC. This is Hockey Night in Canada. But wonder what the winning team is going to do in terms of travel arrangements. It starts at the Spectrum in Philadelphia Monday night. There's the divisional final, and one of these 2 teams will advance if they can survive this outing at the Cap Center in Landover. It's 2-2, and Dennis Potvin is my guest. What are your thoughts about this game?
I've never been so nervous in my life. I normally am out there. This is the first time I'm not participating in a deciding game for the Islanders. I'm not used to being on the sidelines. It's destroying me.
This team never does it the easy way, though. In your memory, what games stand out as some of the great victories that the Isles managed in OT? And that's a tough question, I realize, off the cuff.
Well, I have been thinking about one of the greatest victories, and it was Bobby Nystrom who scored. 1:23 of the second overtime period against the Buffalo Sabres. Now, if you ask me exactly what year it was one of the Stanley Cup years, but that was one of the most draining, physically and emotionally, game that I'd ever participated in, but we kept going, and I think that the guys who keeps the concentration, at this point, conditioning means nothing, because if you're not in great shape, you wouldn't have gotten here. At this point, it's keeping your concentration on the game.
Do you see a lot of yourself in what's happening to Ken Morrow? When Denny Potvin was leading the Isles to 4 straight Stanley Cups, people said the theory is go after number 5 Blue. If you can tire him, you have a chance. Now it seems Ken has filled in because of your injury. He's taking it throughout the course of this game.
Well, Ken is reacting perfectly because he wants the puck. If the puck's in our zone, he wants the puck. He feels confident that he's going to get the puck out. When I was trying to prepare for games and I knew they were going to work in my corner, I turned it into an advantage, or at least you try. You feel that if you have the puck, you're okay. Things are in control. And as long as you think positively that way, as I know Kenny is doing right now, he's going to keep up doing a good work.
How do you account for the goaltenders in this game? It appeared Rudy won it for you, and then Bob Mason, who I thought, and Don and I discussed this, maybe looked a little shaky in the waning moments of regulation time, is terrific in the fourth period.
Well, that's great concentration. He didn't have a great amount of work, throughout the game, and he came up with big saves at very key times during the game. And I, as you did, felt that he was shaky in the end of the game. I thought he was handling long shots poorly, and then all of a sudden, these two close-in shots, I couldn't believe his reaction. And he forced the players to do what they did. He's challenging players even at this late in the game.
How closely is your mind tied to your legs? In a game like this, you talk so much about concentration. Is it tough to maintain it in the fifth period, as we're going to see?
My approach has always been to try and not be too emotional about any of this. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Just try and clear your mind of thoughts and go out and be more like a machine and perform. You don't think of time, you don't think of the pain, you just think of moving the puck, you think of doing the basic plays that you're brought up doing, and that way you minimize the risks of mistakes. And before you know it, sometimes the opening is there, and if you can take advantage of it and capitalize on that opportunity, the game's over and you've won.
Great thoughts. On behalf of all Canadians who've watched you through the years, congrats on 1,000 points.
Thank you very much.
Dennis Potvin of the New York Islanders, as he sweats it out with the rest of us here in Landover, Maryland. It's 2-2 after 4 periods of play, and we'll have more as the Stanley Cup tradition continues on CBC.
Shots fairly even in the first overtime period. I don't know what to predict for a second overtime period. As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody knows what to predict for any overtime. You're a former coach in the National Hockey League. What are the coaches doing now? What can they say now? Season is 80 games long. Now they've another 7 games and another period. What can you say?
No time for strategy, I can tell you that. They're just in there hoping, like everybody else in the dressing room is, that their team gets the goal. I think what they're saying is we've got to play it safe. When you're tired, get off, and don't forget, as Cherry said, get everything at the net. Some overtime, a lot of overtime goals have been solved with bad breaks and poor goals.
Okay, let me say this then, as far as predicting something goes. If they're going to play it safe, both teams, with these two goaltenders, the way they played tonight, Mason and Rudy, we're going to get another overtime out of this.
Well, if you play it safe, I don't mean that you don't go for it when you get a good chance. I mean that you're not too intent on creating a chance when one isn't really there, and it backfires, and you end up going to the dressing room upset that you forgot that the next goal wins.
I think, it's a credit to the New York Islanders not taking sides here now. I have to be careful. But it's a credit to the New York Islanders and Thierry Simpson to get this far, because really, on paper, and the way the previous 6 games have gone, one would think that Washington would be comfortably at home now, waiting to meet Philadelphia on Monday night. But that's not the case. So you have to give credit to the young Islanders.
Oh, absolutely, and they're doing it without Potvin, Bossy, and Sutter. Don't forget, though, Washington's doing it without 2 pretty good hockey players of those, Lachlan and Howarth. They would be 2 candidates to score the winning goal. It's hard to find a player that hasn't reached down and come up with a great effort, and your guess is as good as mine. I said there was no hockey on Easter, but if we wait another 20 minutes, happy Easter, Bob, they're still playing.
All right, this game is going to end tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And when it does end, let's look ahead a little bit and allow fans to think this one out. Philadelphia, resting now a little bit, nice respite. Monday night, they open against the winner of this one.
Well,
doesn't look easy.
They have an advantage, certainly physically, although, as Mike Keenan said earlier, they're banged up. And they're not taking a run at whoever wins this series with a complete lineup. When you lose guys like Poulin and Ron Sutter, you're in a little trouble. So although they're rested, they're not healthy. And it'll be amazing. The team that wins this will be 100% less tired than the team that loses it. Don't worry about Monday night. Worry about the overtime so you can go to the game Monday night.
You better believe it. We've seen 4 periods of playoff hockey. Solid hitting. Great goaltending, and we're looking forward to a little more. And our Stanley Cup playoff coverage continues in a moment.
Coverage begins Monday. Viewers in Quebec will see the Nordiques at the Forum in Montreal to play the Canadiens. Viewers in Western Canada will see Tuesday Winnipeg at Edmonton to meet the Oilers. And viewers in Ontario and the Atlantic provinces will see Toronto at Detroit, also Tuesday. Well, the story is pretty straightforward in Washington this evening. Twos all over the boards. The Islanders and the Caps tied at 2, and they head to the second overtime period in a game that has featured tremendous goaltending. We mentioned at the outset this evening one of the promotional gigs involved in this game was Wear White Tonight. So far in these playoffs, it's worked for the Winnipeg Jets and the Quebec Nordique. They also handed out about 1,500 towels to some of the fans entering the building. Well, those towels are now being shared by many of the fans. It's extremely warm down here in Landover, Maryland this evening, and the players are just now getting set to file back onto the ice. They realize that it'll continue to be hot when they get set for the Philadelphia Flyers in the divisional final. The goaltenders have been the story, both coming up with key saves in this hockey game. And don't forget, as we mentioned from the beginning, the Caps are trying to shake quite a burden. They've never been able to beat a team when facing elimination, but they'll try it in period 5 here this evening. Now, back to Bob Cole and Harry Neal.
Thank you, Ron. And there are the total shots in the hockey game after 4 periods, 47-32. Now that represents a fairly good comeback for the New York Islanders, because a greater portion of those 47 shots by Washington came over the first 2 periods. They outshot the Islanders over the first 2 periods, 25-10. So the Islanders have been coming in spurts, mind you, but they have been coming.
No question about that. And among the 25 shots on goal, you have to remember, now that was a long time ago, but you have to remember that there were 10 excellent scoring chances. And so shots on goal don't tell the whole story. Good chances do, and Kelly Hrudey has turned more shots back than Mason. He stopped more good opportunities than Mason, and he doesn't want to let one goal in and spoil a night that's been terrific for him.
And there's the veteran referee Andy Van Hellemond ready to start the second overtime period here at the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland. 18,100 and some more are here to watch this one. I don't know if they're going to be glad they came.
Well, you know, Dr. J is playing his last game here at the Capitol Center. They're not going to be able to get that floor down for the Sixer Bullet game tomorrow.
They'll be happy they came if the Capitals can pot one for them. It'll be a sad night if the Islanders get it. Only thing we know is somebody is going to get it sooner or later. LaFontaine starting against Bob Gould. And it's Conroy at his own blue line, slides it over. Islanders can't get it in. Makela was bumped off the puck. Hammered off the boards, down the ice again. Stevens cleared it immediately. Duchesne tipped it to center. Islanders are offside. Makela was stopped from getting outside the blue line. Pretty good play by Hatcher to keep him in there.
Well, those turnovers that occur in center ice, the defense that's defending against the turnover have to get up as quickly as they can. And then there was another example, that's the second one we've seen, where the offside saved a dangerous situation as far as the Capitals are concerned.
LaFontaine remains on. So does Gould. But you're going to see some fast line changing going on in the second overtime. Gardner comes out to take his spot on the right wing, and that is Miller leaving. Capitals win the draw, and it goes in. Janssen turns in front of the net with Gould and Duchesne forechecking. Here's a chance for Gardner, and he was nailed by Gilbert before he could get on track for his shot. But he was open. Langway has to come back. Gilbert up watching him, and it goes to Murphy. Murphy back to Langway. Langway to Gould, and Gould across center. Capitals rushing in again. Gould cutting in. Nice save by Hrudey on Gould's bid to end it. Janssen to the other side. Makela will be hit by Langway, but he got it out at 2-on-1. And the pass did never get to LaFontaine. Good play by Murphy. In for Duchesne. Gardner. Another big save by Hrudey. Here's Gould. And Hrudey down and makes another one.
One thing we've seen in all 5 periods is Washington starts very quickly and gets some premier chances. And they're doing it again here in the second overtime. Watch the stop that Hrudey makes here. And he almost fumbles the rebound, and here's the good save. And you can see that Gould didn't have time to come out as far as he might have wanted to. before he was filled in by Conroy. There's not much of a chink in Rudy's armor this evening.
Something you don't see in the stats was when Gilbert came back to stop the Capitals player from getting a shot on the net, and he was home free. But Gilbert made a good hit on him. Capitals in early in the second overtime with some pretty good chances. Conroy hustling to the boards. Played it off the boards, and here's Trottier in on the right side. Trottier gets in front of the net. The pass didn't get back to him from Flackley. And the play is whistled dead for the glove pass and a face-off in the Washington zone.
That was very similar rush to the one Trottier tied the game up. He brings the puck down, he moves it laterally right at the blue line, then he takes off for the net. This time, the right winger, Flatley, could not get the puck to Trottier, who was blowing between the two Capital defensemen.
A very heavy night here in Landover, Maryland, at the Capitol Center for these two teams. The winner takes all in this series. Second overtime. Mike Ridley trying to clear it. Islanders go after it. Again, it's Ridley on the boards. He is stopped by Randy Wood. Wood fell down. And the puck comes outside the line. The play is called. And came close to some penalties there.
Well, Wood, here's Randy Wood, another example of what's in the future for the Islanders. He started and played most of the year in Springfield, and here he is in the biggest game of his life. And the Islanders have 6 or 7 guys sprinkled through their lineup, but you could say that about.
Bob Basson, 28, got the draw at the blue line liner. There's a shot from the point. That's blocked as Diddick failed to get it through. Liner will keep it in, backhanding it off the boards. Sutter is in there centering it, and it went by everybody. A 2-on-1, Capitals. Christian is in front of the net, and the pass does not get to him. Rudy blocked it. Back up for New York, but the play is called with a net off the magnetic moorings, and Basson back there checking on Christian, and these two collided with the goalpost.
Well, this is the longest overtime game that either one of these teams has been involved in, and Diddick, who tripped and allowed the 2-on-1, was very fortunate that it didn't end. Here's the 2-on-1, and you can see the defenseman for the Islanders won't let the pass across, and the Washington forward had no intention of shooting it, and Rudy stops the pass from going through the crease. So what looked like a good opportunity ended up in not much of a chance.
2 minutes and 4 seconds gone in a second overtime period. The winner moving on to Philadelphia on Monday for the division final. Langway and Murphy get together. Murphy's long shot off the boards. It bounces to Duchesne, and it was cleared out of the zone by Pat LaFontaine. Up the center again. Morrow backhands it near the Washington line. Langway hustling back. LaFontaine ran into him. Fell down. Morrow stopped one at center. Threw it up to Makela. Makela, LaFontaine with him. Makela cutting for the net and around the goal. He centers it. And the Capitals are going to bring it out. Murphy slides it ahead for Duchesne and Gardner. Here's Gardner trying to go in. Taken by Kerr. Kerr stick handling away from Gardner. Up the center. Capitals changing. Long shot by Kerr off the boards. It bounces to Stevens. Franciscetti had to reach back to get that pass in. Took a check on the boards, and Conroy was upended. Made the play up to the Capitals line, though. And a capture back in. Jensen shoots. Hard shot, but missing the net. Conroy feeds it ahead. Flipped in by Flackley. That might go into the crowd. It does. It went up high off the boards and went into the crowd. And now they played 3 minutes and 27 seconds of the second overtime period here in Landover, Maryland. Over 18,000 here to watch this hockey game and to find out what happens to their team, the Washington Capitals.
I like Flatley's decision there. He knew he was going to shoot it in, so he put it up on the glass. And as I said earlier, the glass here throws some awful bounces, and that one went out of the rink, but it could just as easily come right out in front.
Long shot from center ice by Diddick. Mason stopped it easily. Now Francischetti slides a pass through. Pabaka moving in. Tried to center it, did. Knocked away by Rudy. Gilbert stopped back there. Leiter takes it up the side of the net. Comley cleared it ahead to Gilbert. Rink wide. And it'll go into the goaltender. Mason, he raced out of the net. Up cleared out. 3-on-1. Washington. Francischetti. Stopped by Rudy. He gave him very little room on that short side. Pass to the middle, and the Islanders go after it now. LaFontaine is driven back. Here's Ridley moving up. Ridley gets in the slot and is pulled to the ice. Again, the Islanders are away. LaFontaine and Wood, but offside is called on Wood. He went in ahead of the play.
Well, I can guarantee you here, the linesman, if it's real close at the blue line, is going to blow the offside. If it's in doubt, he's going to call it. He doesn't want to be the victim of an offside that wasn't called that causes the victory for whoever goes into the goal. So look for the linesman to play it safe. Now, we forget, Bob, the referee and linesman haven't had a chance to sit down this whole game. They've been hauling their rear ends up and down the ice just like the players without a breather on the bench.
From center ice, Morrow dumped the high one in. And offside again. So once more, face-off just outside the Washington blue line. The goal scoring started all the way back at 19:12 of the first. Gartner, 1-0 Washington. Flatley tied it at 11:35 of the second. Then Martin at 18:45 of the second. 2-1 Washington. Trottier at 14:37 of the third. And we're still tied at 2 in a second overtime period. Morrow back in the net. Pass ahead. Might have been stopped at the blue line by Smith, but he had been backing up. Fires it back in. Capitals clear the zone and go in after it. Gould watching Morrow spinning around the net. To Randy Wood. Wood to the blue line. Had his pass picked off at center. The Capitals standing up there at center, stopping that pass. Morrow moving away from his check. Gould brings it to the line and up to center. Morrow will dump a high one in. And that's Wood offside again. He was hoping that Morrow would shoot it hard. He just flipped it, and Wood had gone in ahead of the play, and they're going to make changes from both benches.
Well, one of the tip-offs about how tired these teams are getting is when a player who gets beaten as a forechecker turns and tries to get back into the play, he's skating up an awful-sized hill, and more often than not, if he's anywhere near the bench, he goes for a change. You know, most players can take it at full blast, up, back, but they can't handle that at this point in this game.
Larry Murphy going back and leaving it for Scott Stevens. Stevens gets a pass to the middle. Here's a chance now. Pabaka took it on a skate, and he went in, and he's offside, or that Miller, rather. He was offside, and had he got that pass another 2 feet in front of him, he was home free.
And he can fly. No one would have caught him. The defenseman stood up. The pass got past him. He must have thought the winger, Conroy must have thought the winger, Crom, had him. And there was a mix-up in signals. And Miller was within an eyelash of getting in alone on Rudy.
Conroy dropped it back. Dineen fired it out across the line. And up to center they come. Going in is Kerr. Kerr stopped along the boards, tried to set it back up to Conroy at the point. Conroy now trying to keep it in there. It's jammed on the board. Stevens trying to knock it loose. Miller got a stick on it and got it out to Ridley. Ridley was covered though. Kerr, he won't go across the ice with it. Christian standing there. Got away with that pass, and Crom shoots it from center. But that could be icing. And it is icing. Called against the New York Islanders. They played 5:56 of the second overtime period.
One thing you won't see very often are defensemen pinching on the offensive blue line. If the puck gets past them, their history, and even if it doesn't get past them, if they can get in and get turned, they pinch halfway in and the puck goes around the other way. Again, they got to turn and skate back into the play. So I think you're going to see them play it safe, stay on the blue line.
Mike Keenan, as Harry mentioned, who joined us earlier for a chat, is here scouting these two teams, wondering who he's going to meet. And I know what he's saying right now. Keep it going, fellas. No rush.
I don't think this game, the winner of this game, will be affected at all by this specific game. They may be affected by how tough this series has been over the last 10 days.
Trottier comes out against Pavanka. Trottier got the draw. There goes Sutter after it. Sutter starts out a rink-wide pass to Gilbert. Gilbert racing up after it. Gilbert getting in! And he was knocked down before he could get the backhander at Bob Mason. Islanders keep it in. Gilbert didn't see it. Now he loses his stick. Pavanka coming in for Washington. Pavanka's pass to the right side. Franciscetti shoveled it in front. And Rudy stopped it and wasted a little time in getting the mitt down on the puck to hold it. And a face-off coming up again in the New York zone. But Gilbert had a great chance seconds ago.
Well, Gilbert got by Murphy, but he couldn't get the puck by him. Here it is here. He steps inside him, and Murphy turns around and gives him a hook. Or he was headed for the end zone. And at the other end, on a nice play, Gerald Diduck, who has played a strong game tonight, he tied up the Washington player in front and didn't allow him any breathing room to tip a pass across in.
Well, we're just a little by midnight now. So we're in Easter Sunday morning and Eastern Daylight Time. We've been there for an hour and a half in Newfoundland.
Well, happy Easter to all you hockey fans. We didn't plan this, but we're sure as heck not to leave it.
Okay, we're working on Easter morning in Manitoba. Nearing the 7-minute mark of a second overtime period. And Mike Ridley is the center man for Washington. Christian moves in. He's out.
Well, the linesmen are very careful. They want to make sure every drop of pucks in the offensive zone are fair.
This one is fair. Murphy gets a shot. Put it about 6 feet where Trottier was stopping it. In back of the net. Miller tried to center it. He's stopped by Leiter. There's Christian in the corner. Christian, a pass through the slot area. Ridley turns, knocked down. Islanders, Trottier got it away. Up through the middle, look out! That's Stevens again. Watching Kerr come through that slot area and nailed it. He didn't get all of them. Probably a good thing. The Capitals coming in again, 3 of them in. Gartner's shot is stopped by Conroy at center. And Christian came close. Hatcher dumped it off behind the net. It's off the boards and down inside the Washington line. And Mason comes out to play it. Nearing the 8-minute mark of the second overtime. Christian offside, getting that pass. Gets the face-off. Down inside the Washington blue line to the right of Bob Mason.
Well, one situation that could develop here with the number of quick changes that are taking place is that a team gets caught in a bit of a bad change. And on the opposite side of the rink, the team that's not changing gets the puck up quickly for a good chance. And it's almost happened 2 or 3 times so far in the overtime.
Harry, there have been 87 shots in the hockey game up to this point. 54 by Washington. LaFontaine, number 16. Got the draw. Islanders go after it. It's cleared into the corner by Gilbert. Duchesne comes back for Washington. He's tied up. Falls to the ice. The puck loose, and Hatcher takes it. Franciscetti up to the line. Backhands it down inside the New York line. And Diduck comes back. He circles to the left of Rudy. A high pass went over Makela's head. And it's Makela intercepting. Makela Nearly got a shot away with Langway intercepting. Or rather, Langway throwing the pass out that Makela intercepted. And that was nearly a giveaway on a scoring play. But no harm done. Here's LaFontaine now. He could be Murphy. Murphy comes back in and Gould takes the shot. Gould now center it. It went off a leg back of the net. And again, the New York net has been knocked flying. Heavy traffic in there to the right of Rudy.
Well, Dineen tried to stop Francischetti from going to the net, and Francischetti threw Dineen right into the goal post and knocked the net flying. Now the puck's over on the corner. Now watch this. Over on the left side there. You can't see him, but you will in a minute. Francischetti's going to the goal. Gould tries to get it in front, and Dineen tries to take the man going out. He can't. He's knocked into the post, and a break for the Islanders, but the net came off its moorings. Gartner's playing center. He's playing on two different lines, and Brian Murray says, I'm going to get him out there as much as possible. He's the best offensive threat we've got.
He's there now with Jensen. Murphy parked behind the face-off spot. Pivonka on the other side, and Stevens the other man.
I think Brian Trotsch's saying to the inside man right there, you see him talking to him, look at, he said, Gartner's on his forehand, he may go to the net. So on your way out to the point, you be ready to step into Gartner if he happens to go forward with it.
Ready for the draw, here it is, right back to Murphy, shoots right on, and Rudy saw that, I don't know how, but he did. Murphy now moving up from the line to keep it in. Murphy's backhander hit the side of the net, outside of the post, that one. Jensen tries to center it. Gardner going in there. Murphy pinching in again. Rob stopped him. And Dineen is going to clear it ahead for New York. The Trottier, he leaves it for Kerr. Kerr in. Shoots. Rebound. And it rolls dangerously close to the goal line. Kerr's being roughed up by Stevens in the corner after Mason had made the stop on that highest shot.
And you can be sure that Brian Murray is holding his breath. He doesn't want to lose Scott Stevens at this point in the hockey game. And Mason didn't quite catch the puck, and it dropped behind him, but didn't have enough for the right English on it to roll her into the net.
He's gonna lose Stevens. He gets a penalty.
Now watch Mason here. Oh, this is the one that went off the side of the net at the Islander end. Now we'll have a look at the other end.
Number 3, Scott Stevens of the Capitals.
Watch where the puck goes, up in the air, off Mason. Behind him it comes down. He doesn't know where it is. He hears it bounce and grabs it quickly.
Washington penalty number 3, Scott Stevens.
Coincident minor penalties. Kerr and Stevens are in the penalty box.
Well, it's 2 minutes. That'll be the longest Stevens has sat on any bench since this overtime started. He's been coming out every other shift. The shifts are down to 30 and 40 seconds. So Washington will have to go without their premier defenseman tonight, in my opinion, for 2 minutes.
Face off just outside the Washington line. We're in a second overtime period, and they played nearly 9 minutes. Rudy stopping this for Morrow. Morrow turns, decides to go off the glass. No icing, it's been waved off. It hit Gilbert. Back in there is Hatcher. Hatcher rolled it ahead. Pivonka, or rather Jensen can't move it. Jensen went up after it a second time of the Islanders. Janssen comes back. Banked it off the boards for Gilbert. Gilbert shoots it in, and that's Mason stepping out for Langway. Langway bumped by Basson. Islanders keep it in. Basson, he's been dangerous for the New York Islanders. Basson centered it. It hit a skate and bounced to the boards. And from there, they cleared it out. Ridley got it out of the zone. Leiter bumped by Ridley. Here's Hatcher, a long shot off the glass. Grabbed by Makela of New York. Makela up the center with LaFontaine skating across the line with him. Makela shoots. That's stopped by Mason. LaFontaine going after it in the corner. Can't get it loose. Around the net goes Greg Smith for Washington. A pass hits Miller. He skates to center. Miller coming up. Gets up over the line. Miller doing a great job rushing. Miller in back of the net. Failed to center it though. Christian comes in to dig it out. Christian pass in front. I can't believe this goaltending. Rudy made another sensational save. That one should have been in. Capitals go after it again. Puck knocked down. And the New York Islanders are going to get out. Makaleta center with Randy Wood. Wood chasing that loose puck. And he centers it. Here's Trottier. That's stopped. Wood is in there. It comes to the goal line. And Mason somehow doubled back and grabbed it. And he hangs on to it. And they're all in there punching away now.
Well, Mason is another goalie like Ken Reggett that doesn't wear a strap on his helmet, and that came off. He made the save with his helmet off, and he didn't know where the puck was. And I hope we can see it. He looked back into the net to see if it was there.
Can you believe the job that Rudy has done on on critical situations in this hockey game? And at the other end, Mason has been pretty sharp.
Now there's how he loses his helmet. Now he gets up, and there's another shot to come here, right there. Now look at it. Hits the post and comes right out, and that's when Mason looked back in the net. And here's the stops you're talking about with Rudy. Two Islander defensemen lost their stick on this play, and here's the great chance. One.
Look.
Now he hits it out of the air as it's coming down. And finally, hit out of the air again by Conroy. It's cleared into the corner. Well, these two goalies are earning their money tonight, I can tell you that. This guy's been sensational. This one hasn't been as busy, but since the middle of the third period, Mason's been just as busy.
56-38. The shots in this hockey game total. Coincident minor penalties. Now there's some more penalties being announced.
Number 26, Patrick Flatley, 2 minutes for high
Flatley,
sticking.
and that's Duchesne you're looking at.
For the Capitals, number 14, Gaetan Duchesne, 2 minutes for cross-checking. Time of the penalties, 10:49. Islanders penalty. Number 26, Patrick Flatley, 2 minutes high sticking.
Flatley high sticking. Duchesne cross-checking.
At 10:49.
So they join Kerr and Stevens. And are coming up to the 11th minute mark in a second overtime period. Islanders Morrow from the blue line. Tossed one ahead on the boards. Here's Rich Crom getting loose. It comes out front and grabbed immediately by Gardner, and he's away. Gardner shoots it in. Ricochets around the boards for Francischetti going in after it. Janssen pins him, and the puck comes loose. This is Gould spinning around, centered it, knocked away by the goaltender. Another shot, kicked out. Stevens at the blue line, another shot, knocked down. Gould is in there. He's knocked back in front of the net. Now Crom comes up for New York. Trottier in with him. Trottier centers it. Kerr shot, Miller in there, and it's knocked away in front of the net. Mason was great there on that shot by Kerr. Gardner picks his way slowly, tries a long shot. Tipped off a stick wide of the net. Sutter gets it up to Conroy. Conroy shoots it in. Here comes Basson. Basson in first to beat Langway, but Langway caught up to it. Puck is loose in there. Along the boards, Sutter went after it. Sutter lost it. Conroy stopped Pavanka. It's knocked into the zone, though. And Deneen took his man out of the play. Gilbert's pass tipped away by Basson out to center ice. Nearing the 13-minute mark of the second overtime. It's picked off inside. LaFontaine's shot. A weak one, though, and Mason made the stick save. The Islanders coming close now, though. After it against Sutter. Centered for LaFontaine. And Langway made the play to stop it and then clear it all the way down the ice. And icing called against the Washington Capitals. 7:23 left in the second overtime period.
Well, both these teams are getting pretty close to running on empty now as far as the fuel supply is concerned. Something's got to give before too long. And certainly the goaltenders have given no indication it's going to be either one of those.
Boy, have they been great. And playing under such pressure. 7th game of the series. Mason for Washington. Kelly Rudy for the New York Islanders. My goodness. LaFontaine against Mike Ridley. Wins the draw. LaFontaine can't shoot it. He's tied up. Capitals cover on him, and 3 of them come out. That's Kelly Miller going in with it. Kelly Miller dragged it along the blue line, and offside is called.
Well, what Washington's, I think, complaining about on this one is, for some reason, John D'Amico blew the offside very late. I don't know that it wasn't offside, but maybe John's running out of energy and he couldn't get that little ball moving on the whistle.
Didn't get the arm up. They're going to change again. Ridley is going off. So is Christian. And Bob Gould stays on. Stevens and Murphy are the 2 hard-shooting defensemen there for the Washington Capitals. And Brian Murray has not decided on the other forward yet. Now he has. Franciscetti comes out. Randy Wood, number 11, playing alongside Pat LaFontaine. There they are, closing in on 100 total for the game. The shots. Murphy shoots it ahead. Gould shot. Knockdown rebound. Rudy made a big play again by coming out and knocking it away. And again, the play is called. But Rudy has been, well, he's been everything. He's been very quick. He's been thinking all night. And he made the right move there. He decided very quickly he better leave the net and knock that one away. And it turned out to be another game saver.
Sure did, and LaFontaine was Johnny on the spot, and he knew enough to handle it and get it into the corner. But a diving poke check by Rudy was what caused the puck to go up in the air, so LaFontaine could bat it to the corner. Tell you one thing, there's nobody leaving this building tonight in order to get home for Easter brunch. And if they don't leave soon, some of those meals that are so lovely at Easter are going to come awful late in the afternoon.
They might even send them in. Trottier wins the draw. Islanders take aim at Crom and get it up to him. Trailing the play, that's Dineen shooting it in for New York. Stevens overskates it. It's centered. Here's a chance. Down goes Mason, but the puck didn't get to him. Capitals get it out across the line to the center ice area. Islanders shoot it back in. They're bumping into each other out there now, both teams. Makela was upended when he ran into Crom. Back in there for Ridley. Ridley cuts for the net. Ridley gets it again. Takes a look around. He falls. Now here's Hatcher getting ready. In the slot. Can't get a shot through. Conroy slow in clearing it. Conroy now wrapped it the other way. And Gilbert starts up for New York. Gilbert's pass to center. Hatcher knocks it down and throws it back in. We're at the 14-minute mark of a second overtime period. Janssen starts out. Pass through center. Taking it is Basson going in. Basson with Sutter after it. Sutter was beaten by Mason, who left the net to clear it. Hatcher is there. Sutter couldn't stop him. Pinching in is Diddick. Langway taking over in there back of the Washington net. And the Capitals cleared to Franciscetti. He gets it ahead. Up the center, that's Pivonka. Pass went in wide of the net. Franciscetti after it again. Franciscetti at the line is Stevens. Pivonka, Franciscetti, oh, and he misses. I don't know if it hit something in front, but it went off wide on the short side. And baby, they're falling all over the place now.
Great opportunity for Franciscetti. He's played a good hockey game. He's been a factor nearly every time out there. Nice pass right into the slot. There it goes, and you were right. Rudy didn't have to make the save. His defenseman made it for him.
And they're ever so slow getting back to their feet. Franciscetti Finally gets back up. 5:19 remaining in the second overtime. I don't know about you, it's been the longest game I've ever been involved in. Got to a second overtime one time, about the 10-minute mark of the second overtime period, but it's got to be it for you too, Harry, coaching or otherwise.
Yeah, this is the longest, all right. What a feeling when you win in overtime, but what a complete downer when you lose, especially in OT of the 7th game.
Gould got the draw back near the defenseman Murphy. Fontaine there, though, to pick it up. Conroy threw it back of the net. That's Dineen, a long pass. He tried to hit LaFontaine. Mason decides to come out. Played it up along the boards. And the Islanders take over in the center ice area. Dineen fired one back in. That's wide. Murphy behind the net, into the corner. Scott Stevens trying to start the play that will end this thing. Gets it up to the line. Franciscetti to Gould. Gould is going dirty. And Rudy tipped it away. Gould kind of lost possession of it. Here's Gould again. And Rudy got his leg down and stopped that. Once again Gould, but this time Makela takes it away from him. Up with Kerr. Makela barreling along the boards. Got away from Smith, dropped it back, and still has the play. Makela centered it. Nearly picked off by Gould, who had 2 or 3 good chances there in this shift. Islanders dump it in again. 4:13 left in the second overtime period. Here's Flatley. He nearly stole it for a shot on the net. Went off balance. Flatley again. Lost it as he was checked off the puck. Up to center, Gardner. Gardner in, shoots. And Rudy got a piece of that. Off the boards. Cleared in back of the net. And the last stop by Rudy represents the 100th shot on goal in this hockey game by these two teams. Gardner in a bid to end it. Puck fired to the far side. And back of the goal. Islanders pick it up. Johnson waits for the pass. It doesn't come. Bassett decides to skate himself. Throws it right up where it's stopped by the Capitals, and Hatcher, checked by center, got it back in. On the other side, back of the net. Capitals, Franciscetti falling on it. Adams went in there to try to dig it loose, but he can't do it. 60-40 are the shots now. Washington, 3:13 remaining in the second overtime.
Well, here's Gould in alone, and you're going to find Conroy hooks him just enough right there so Gould can't catch up to the puck. And that wasn't a great save by Rudy. It was a great play by Conroy. Now here is a good save by Rudy. Or this is another angle of the same play. And you can see the hook wasn't enough to yank him off his feet, but it was enough to slow him up so he lost control of the puck. Can you imagine how heavy those pads are now, Bob? You know, as the game goes on, they get wetter and get heavier as your legs get more fatigued. It's a bad combination.
22, a 10-minute misconduct at 16:47.
That's Greg Adams getting a misconduct penalty. Adams of the Washington Capitals. So obviously he had some things to say.
Well, Adams was trying to dig the puck loose that was underneath the Islander defenseman. Basson thought he was a little too ambitious doing it, so he came in and cross-checked him. And I'm sure Adams is giving Andy Van Helleman a little lecture on why Basson should get a penalty, perhaps using some flowery language. Now watch, the puck is underneath these two players. Watch Adam. He digs at it once, cross-checks Gilbert, digs at it again. Now watch Basson. Basson comes running in and cross-checks Adams out of the way.
Trottier goes over to say something to Conroy before he moves back to the face-off spot against Mike Ridley. He got the draw, and sure enough, the puck went right in front of the Islanders' net where Conroy was standing. Trottier going up after Langway. Langway gives it to Gardner. He centered it. Ridley nearly got free, but Trottier came out of nowhere to stop him. The shot knocked in front by Rudy, and the Islanders clear it out. Crom takes it near center. Dumped it in. There goes Trottier after Langway again. And it's centered Puck knocked away by Crom. It flies high over the glass. Down behind Bob Mason. 2:41 remaining in the second overtime period. Kerr of the New York Islanders had something going with one of the Capitals a moment ago. The two officials, the linesmen that is, are in there to get them apart. Hatcher turning. He doesn't like it. But no penalties on this flare-up. It was minor.
Well, you know how irritable you can get when you don't get enough sleep and you're tired and some guy nudges you in a crowd. That's what these players are going through now. It's almost impossible to ask them to keep their heads and not fly off the handle of it.
Second overtime period has 2 minutes and 41 seconds remaining. So much for fast goals in overtime.
I thought it was going to end in a hurry in the first one, and Cherry thought it was going to end in a hurry in the third one. We're going to ask you in the second one. We're going to ask you about the third one, Bob.
If there is one. Again, it goes into the crowd. There have been some pretty good chances in both these overtime periods, and I'd say especially in this something, we're talking about the number of chances in the second overtime as opposed to the first. Well, that's been the story tonight from the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland. Seventh game decides it. Capitals against the Islanders. Now they're down to 2.5 minutes left in the second overtime. Capitals up after it. Makela swinging away for New York. Played it up to LaFontaine. He gets it into Gilbert to LaFontaine. He's checked by Stevens. Gilbert, though, went after it behind the net. Comes to the side of the goal. They poke at it, and Mason jammed his skate and stick against the post, and he kept it out. It looked harmless enough as it came out in the crease area, but then it got very close to that goal line, and they wrapped away at it, but it did not go in.
Now watch how Mason has his skate against the far post when this puck comes around the net and they bring it out the other side. And to put it in, you were going to have to put it through Mason's feet. See it there? He knows he's in trouble. He's afraid to fall. He's got it trapped between his skates. But pucks have been poked loose in that spot before. Here's a little better look at it.
Oh, he was holding tight, holding the top part of the post with his arm. They give him some leverage and holding his skate against the post.